Hello and welcome to the Holiday Romance track here at ConTinual. I'm your host, Gail Z Martin, also Morgan Brice. And with me tonight, we've got a number of authors who love to write holiday romance, love to read holiday romance, and just get into the holidays altogether. So we're going to talk about what we love about holiday storytelling, and let's get started. So I'm going to go around and let the panelists introduce themselves. DJ, kick us off.
Oh, goody. Hi, I'm DJ. I do love writing holiday romances. I've written one almost every year since I started publishing. I'm not sure how much I'm supposed to go on at length about myself.
Introduction, save some for later.
I write romance. I don't know if everyone on this panel does. So that is my specialty.
Okay, Jennifer.
My name is Jennifer Estep, and I write several different fantasy series. The Elemental Assassin series, Crown of Shards, Gargoyle Queen, and Section 47, among many others. Since my books are mostly urban fantasy and epic fantasy, mine is kind of like Christmas and killing go together with a little bit of romance. So,
of course it does. Jeanne.
I'm Jeanne Adams. I write urban fantasy, paranormal romantic suspense, and romantic suspense. And I'm kind of with Jennifer. I mean, you know, why not have a good bloodbath while you're at it? You know, jingle the bells and ho the host, you know.
Yeah, there you go. Very good.
So to speak. That didn't sound right.
I think that means what you think it means.
Exactly.
My name is Brigham. I've been published for about 7 years, and I write LGBT romance. I have some stories, some lesbian romance, some poly stories, and I have one YA book, which actually does happen to be a holiday story. So I've done Christmas, I've done Halloween, I've also done Valentine's Day. I don't know if we're talking all holidays or just winter holidays.
All holidays are good.
All right, so I have a kind of a broad range of holiday romances across those genres. So.
Awesome.
No killing, however.
No killing. Oh,
neither.
Good.
Not yet. There's
Not
always
yet.
time.
As Gail Z Martin, I write epic fantasy, urban fantasy, steampunk, and more, and some of those have holidays in them as well. As Morgan Brice, I write urban fantasy, male paranormal romance, and several of those are indeed holidays, although yes, there is holidays and killing with that because they're also urban fantasy. So let's start by talking about what have you written that are holiday romance, and we'll broaden that to any holiday. Brigham.
Okay, my young adult book is set at Christmas. It's about a young gay man who is kicked out of his house. He's homeless and living on the street, and he wanders into his former boyfriend's family's gift shop, and it's just a few days before Christmas. It's snowy and cold, and he's miserable, and it's sort of his coming to accept help for himself and for his little sister, and it's all about it's called Finding Warmth, and so it's all about finding warmth at the holiday season and finding a family again, and feeling all that love and Christmas spirit to help him and his sister out. And it was really interesting to write. I never planned to do YA, but all of a sudden the idea popped in my head, and it was Christmas, and I thought, well, why not? So I also have a Valentine's Day polyamorous romance. That's MMF. I have a Halloween vampire short story, and so I've kind of covered a little bit of all the holidays, but this year I just finished and sent off to my beta readers a Christmas romance. It's kind of set from Thanksgiving to Christmas, or Thanksgiving to New Year's almost, and it's a male romance called Cabin Fever, and I'm really excited about that. It's an age gap romance, so that'll be fun.
Cool. Jeanne?
Oh gosh, I haven't covered Valentine's Day. I think that's about the only one. I have a Halloween story in one of my major series is The Witches of Haven Harbor, which started with the book The Witch's Walk, which features starts in September and goes through Halloween. And I have several Halloween stories in that series, including the newly released Trick or Treat at Caneham Castle, which Gail is also in as Morgan Brice.
Mhm.
And she was in that as Gail last year with Christmas at Caneham Castle. And so I have that one. I have Crashing Through the Snow, which is set at Christmas and New Year's, in between Christmas and New Year's. And then I have a Thanksgiving suspense romance called Deadly Delivery. So I touched a lot of them. I haven't hit Valentine's Day, Memorial Day, or 4th of July yet. I'll have to work those in.
Got to get the, and Easter. I didn't hear Easter.
Oh, yes, Easter. Got to have Easter.
Hey, goals, squad goals.
Exactly.
How about you, Jennifer?
I've written a couple of different things. I have a Halloween short story in one of my YA series, although it's not really romance, but it's just they go trick or treating and then like something tries to kill them. So more killing holiday. But I kind of feel like every urban fantasy author has like a Halloween story where things go terribly wrong. And then in my Elemental Assassin series, I've sent a couple of books at the holidays, like Tangled Threads. Book 4 is set kind of during Christmas, but it's in the background. But there is like one of those big like Christmas family reunions between two sisters who are estranged. So that's kind of like my urban fantasy spin on a holiday. And then of course also they have to like fight for their lives before they have like the big kind of reunion sappy moment. So, and then I said a couple of other books at the holidays, or like in my epic fantasy series I'll mention Yuletide, and I actually think it would be really fun to write a holiday romance in the epic fantasy in my Crown of Shards world.
That would be fun.
What different spins I could put on some of like our traditions, but in an epic fantasy world. And then of course there would have to be like more gladiators and killing in that one too, because it's just how I roll at Christmas time.
Mm-hmm. DJ.
Well, I've mostly just written Christmas romances. I do have one Valentine's, which is called My Anti-Valentine, which is about a gray sexual character. It's someone who's on the ace spectrum, because I just sort of did that one for me because I had seen a lot of, well, not a lot, I'd seen a few asexual romances, but most of them were kind of like on the extreme end of the spectrum. I didn't see a lot of characters in the gray area. So I wrote that a few years ago. Last year I wrote or 2 years ago, I guess it was, I wrote a book called All I Want Is You, which was sort of a second chance romance. And since we're talking about movies too, possibly, this is gonna sound ridiculous, but there's this movie I love. It's called Just Friends with Ryan Reynolds. And it's really more of a comedy, but it does take place over Christmas. And he sort of comes back to town, and he's desperate to impress this girl that he loved when he was a teenager, right? And of course everything goes completely wrong and he makes a fool of himself over and over. And I was like, gosh, it would be a lot of fun to just write a story like that, where like someone is coming home and they want to try again, but they just, everything keeps going wrong. And so that was kind of the inspiration behind All I Want Is You. It didn't really turn out exactly, obviously it didn't turn out like the movie because I wasn't copying, but he comes home, he kind of lost his job, so he comes home for Christmas. He doesn't have a great relationship with his family, and he finds out that his best friend from high school that he was completely in love with is now out as a bisexual, and it's like bomb drops, and so it's kind of like he's like, I'm gonna make this happen. So it's just like a very sweet romance. I always tie in a lot of family. I tie in a lot of like tradition. I try to put different spins on tradition, so it's not just the Christmas tree, but in my current book I'm writing right now, I worked in I asked my Facebook group full of readers, just like, what do you guys do for the holidays, so that I could get like a bunch of different ideas to try to put something more interesting in there than just, oh, we open presents. And so in the book I just wrote now, which is
like a snowed in romance, they have a tradition in their family called like the Christmas box, and everyone has a box and gifts are put in the box, but you don't know who gave you the gifts. There's no names on anything, and all the gifts have to fit in a box. And so I just like to kind of put in like unique traditions and things like that.
Sounds fun.
Cool. Well, as I've written more holiday romance as Morgan Brice than as Gail, although in my Chronicles the Necromancer series, to your point, Jennifer, we do have Winter's Tide, which is the big, you know, solstice winter celebration, and not exactly Christmas for a lot of the reasons, but it's the winter solstice and all the winter stuff that goes with it. So that was kind of fun. With Morgan Brice, I have done Valentine's Day. I've done a number of Halloweens, but you could argue that since I write about ghost hunters, monster hunters, demon hunters, and people who, you know, and vampires and shifters, every day is Halloween in a way. And I did a Thanksgiving one with a witch who came back and reenacted a murder every year for the benefit of a vampire who was stuck permanently as a small child and wanted to have dinner with a family, and then wanted to have dinner with the family. And it didn't go well, but they did stop that. And don't need to worry about that anymore. And I've had Krampus show up because you kind of need to. But I think one of my favorites, in my Witchbane series, they're hunting a dark warlock in Pittsburgh, and the two demon hunters help them. And one of them, as a day job, runs a halfway house in a rundown neighborhood of Pittsburgh. So they all go stay for Christmas and New Year's with him so that he has company, because he can't leave the halfway house. And so they keep him company there at the mission. And the other one was just fun because it's Lucky Town in the Badlands series. And one of my characters comes from this very buttoned down, well-to-do family where, you know, the turkey was brought in, all the fixings, they're perfect, but none of it's homemade, and everybody's very cold. And he goes to Pittsburgh to visit his new boyfriend's family, which is this loud, wonderful Italian Catholic family of cops, and there are 10 siblings, and his boyfriend's in the middle, so he gets to see him be treated like the little brother, and everybody is just loud and wonderful and accepting, and he's totally blown away. So, you know, that was kind of fun to bring in also some of those holidays. It's just kind of fun to do holiday stories. So that leads me into my next question, which is, why do you think readers love holiday stories? What is it to you? What to you defines what readers are looking for in these stories? Jeannie.
Well, I think it's one of those things where you don't have to actually create a conflict for there to be conflict at the holidays. Everybody knows this is the topic you avoid at dinner, or you go and you grit your teeth and you get through lunch, and then you get to see the other side of the family for dinner, and that's fun. You know, you don't have to create a conflict over the holidays. It's just full of conflict. And I think as a reader, you can relate so easily to whatever an author sets up as a conflict, because you either have it in your own family, you have it in your outlaws or your in-laws, or your siblings have it in their in-laws, or you know somebody who's got that issue. And you know, when you're writing anything in the LGBTQ world, you have automatic built-in conflicts with some people at the holidays. And so, you know, everybody can relate to it. And we all relate to loving the holidays and wishing maybe they were a little different than they are with my family of origin, kind of thing. So you can create such fun around that. Plus, it's a wonderful season to create fun or mayhem, as Jennifer and Gail and I apparently are prone to do.
How about you, Jennifer? Why is it a great time for murder and romance?
Well, I will say, actually, in real life, we were talking about Hallmark movies before we started recording, and I adore all the Hallmark movies, all the Christmas rom-coms, Lifetime, Netflix. I will watch every single one of those. I have like my little cheat sheet of what's new this year already printed out, so that's like a little tradition that my mom and I do. We'll like, make some hot chocolate on a Saturday night and sit down and watch a Hallmark movie or something, sometime during the Christmas season. And it's a lot of what Jeannie said. I think everybody can relate to the holidays in some way, whether it's good, like, again, the Hallmark Rockefeller with the happy family and the nice tree and all the bright, shiny presents, or whether it's like the family drama and, oh my God, why did she say that? And why did this person give me this weird random gift? And thinking. So I think it's just a good time of year because there's already sort of those layers of drama and family conflict and stuff. And then say, if you put a murder mystery on top of that, or, bad guys are chasing you or whatever, I think it just adds another layer of intrigue. And then also the decorations too. I mean, we all know what a Christmas tree looks like. But if you're writing, say, an urban fantasy or something like that, you can make the decorations really sinister, really sort of like, instead of like red and green lights, maybe they're like bloody lights and, green, poisonous, whatever. And I just think it's, in a way, like the holiday decorations can become another character too, that can add that other extra oomph to your holiday story.
DJ?
I just think, it's heartwarming. I think for me, especially being a contemporary romance author, that readers, they connect, they have a sense of nostalgia when you bring up, traditions and going to the little holiday festival or having dinner with the family, and that they, like was said before, they can relate to that. It makes them feel a little nostalgic. It puts them in the right spirit for the current holidays, just like decorating your house does that, and watching holiday movies and all those things kind of help you get in the mood. So I think really for contemporary, like, you just want to be, very heartwarming, and kind of give them a lot of like love and family and peace,
Yeah, I think that people either want to relive the holidays if they were good, and go back to that time when maybe not that the world was a simpler place, but when you're a kid, you just aren't clued into all the things that are complicated. And so I think that that's some of the nostalgia. If your holidays and your upbringing had good holidays, if you didn't, and the holidays were tense or unhappy, or the family was strained and you couldn't really do anything, then I think there's an escapism of what would the perfect holiday look like? What do I wish holidays were like?
right?
And so I think either way, you kind of have, the perfect catnip for people, that they get this wish fulfillment about what a perfect holiday would be like. Or even if it's not perfect, if it's comedic and everything goes wrong, the fact that everybody still ends up together, that it all works out in the end, that, all the old problems are mended, all lang syne and all of that. I think that's what we're looking for. Brigham?
Well, you stole more or less what I was planning on answering with, but I think it's that romance, there's always that expectation of a happily ever after. And with the holidays, that almost is doubled. Things are going to work out in the end. And as you said, even if it isn't perfect, there's that sense of completeness and everything. And I think in particular with LGBT stories, there's the added element of found family. So many people do not have family of origin that is accepting. So many people have had to create their own families. And in general, I love writing those stories, but I think with the holidays, it's even kind of a bigger deal, and I feel like this may be why I tend to write series, is because I always end up creating these worlds where characters have really good friends, and then they become such important parts of their lives that then, you know, I've got to go on and tell their stories. But I think that's even more critical at the holidays. There's that sense of, well, you know, maybe my parents weren't accepting, but hey, here's my best friend and they love me for who I am. They support who I'm with. We're going to create our own new holiday traditions, you know, and I think that sense of community is really extra important to people at the holidays. And so for readers, even if they aren't finding that in their life, they can then find that in the books.
Yeah, very much. Found family is such a huge theme in so much romance, especially with the male or the LGBTQ romance for that reason. Although, you know, it shows up in other places too, because a lot of people, regardless of their orientation, didn't necessarily get on with the people they were born to. So yeah, I think it's a powerful theme. We touched a little bit on some of our favorites written or movies by others, but let's talk about some of the holiday books other people have written that we just love. Maybe we pull them out every year, or maybe they're just, you know, our favorites. Jennifer, how about you?
Well, it's funny that we're doing this panel tonight because over the past weekend I went to the local Barnes & Noble. I picked up like several holiday romances. So some of the ones on my TBR pile this year are The 12 Dogs of Christmas by Lizzie Shane, because, I mean, holidays and animals, who doesn't love that? And then I also have Mistletoe and Mr. Right, which I thought looked super cute. And then in addition to holiday romance, I also love a royal romance. So A Princess for Christmas is like, looks like all of my catnip right here. So that's some of the ones
Picked off 2 boxes right there.
Yeah, really.
So those are some of the holiday romances that I'll be reading. And actually, I was putting together kind of a list for my newsletter. I do like a gift guide in November, and there are so many holiday romances out there. I mean, you can find something that you like, whether it's enemies to lovers, or like you said, found family, or, you know, Christmas in an exotic location. You know, there is a romance out there for everybody.
DJ, how about you?
You're gonna call on me before I was ready. I have, you know, a few favorite authors in the MM romance genre. I think Kira Andrews is one of the best for holiday romances. And I was trying to remember what are the titles of all these books that I've read. And of course, I'm drawing a blank. But, you know, she's written about, you know, different themes, kind of the second chance romance and the found family. She's written about, you know, someone who is Jewish, so not just always the straightforward Christian American type persona. And she's just, she always tells very emotional, moving stories, and she has one almost every year. So she's one of my favorite authors to read over the holidays. Actually, my first Jay Northcote read was a holiday book. And so that's kind of how I started reading some of his books too. And I just, our genre especially is full of holiday romance. More come out every year, but you know, you can choose from 50 different books if you want to every single year. So to stand out gets kind of tricky, but those are kind of my favorites.
Awesome. Jeannie?
Oh gosh, I'm making notes because the books Jennifer showed and what DJ was saying. I think there are so many great ones that come out every year, and it's such a treat to find new ones. That's fun. But I also like to go to the old favorites. Anna Campbell has a couple, she's got 2 or 3 different Christmas ones, and I go back and reread those. She did one for what was an anthology, but it's now taken down. It was called Magic Under the Mistletoe, I think. Anyway, her story was A Major for Christmas. And it was absolutely delightful. It's a sort of rekindled love story. And then Joe Beverly has this absolutely ancient story from Zebra, and it was called The Christmas Angel. I don't even know if it's still available, but this one sits on my bookshelf, you know, and tucked away, and I pull it out, you know, about this time every year. And I don't know if any of y'all ever read Joan Overfield while she was still writing. This one is called A Christmas Fair, and it's absolutely delightful. It's just a romp at a house party, you know, and one of those inheritance stories, you know, the eldest son dies and leaves the family destitute, and because the new heir won't take care of him and all. It's just clever and cute and just everything you want in a Christmas story. And but there's so many great ones. I mean, Nancy Northcott has a couple in her Mages series, and I've enjoyed the ones in the Witchbane series. And so I just kind of cuddle up with a bunch of romances sometimes with when you get, and especially this year, when you get a little bit down or cranky, you can just kind of settle into that and find some family and some hope.
Mm-hmm. Brigham, how about you?
Anna Martin has a couple, I think, and I'm trying to remember because I feel terrible because I'm going to confuse which author I'm talking about, but I'm pretty sure it's Anna. I was trying to look it up on my phone real quick and I wasn't fast enough. It's about like a winter festival, like a Christmas market in Germany. And it's a really, really good story. And I remember reading, I am of course blanking out on the name. I am not 100% sure on the author, but it was a great book. I'm terrible at names. I can tell you the details of the book, cannot remember anything else. I should have prepared better, clearly. But there is also, and I do not remember who wrote this, there was a fantastic Hanukkah book about a bakery owner and a hockey player, or a hockey coach. He was a hockey coach, I think, and it was really good. I read it last year, and that was the other one I was supposed to be looking for and could not seem to find. I think Ben might have been in the title, but I don't know for sure. Like I said, clearly terrible at remembering this, but the story stuck out.
You'll remember all of them as soon as we hang up from this.
Absolutely.
It'll be like a download, a cosmic download.
Yep.
I'm a sucker for series, so Vale Valley and all of those, you know, just sign me up. So Vale Valley usually is it's set in a fictional town, but various authors write, and all the books are standalone, but sometimes the characters cross over from book to book, and they're just sweet, and there's usually shifters involved or some sort of paranormal creature, male. But they're just sweet and fluffy, and I love them. Last year there was another series like that involving snow globes, various authors, and there were just a couple, one with somebody who had been cursed by a witch into a snow globe and only true love would get him out, somebody, you know, those kind of stories, and just beautiful, beautiful escapism. But each story had to have something about a snow globe that was central to the plot. Then there was the Christmas Angels series, and that, again, various authors, male, but there's a hand-carved Christmas angel that has its own backstory that we get in one of the books, but it tends to show up when somebody needs it and disappear after they have what their heart desires. Cool. And so it goes through the years. It was originally carved by someone in the 1700s, and the stories all take place in different time periods, from the Victorian era to the Vietnam War to modern day, multiple authors, male, just great story. And then Eli Easton has done a number of just adorable, fluffy, fun romances that make you feel good, and they're great for some hot chocolate and have the fireplace going, and they're just fun. Merry Christmas, Mr. Miggles, I think, is one of them. And you know, it's this dorky guy who thinks he's never going to find love, and he finds family and love and everything else. And yeah, you're right. There are just so many. We could be here all night, but I want to talk about also favorite movies. Jennifer touched on this. And what are the go-to holiday special or TV shows that you just got to watch every year? DJ?
Oh, why do you always start with me?
Mix it up, honest.
I honestly, I don't watch TV specials. And I don't watch Hallmark
I don't either.
I did, however, I did just have a scene in my book I'm writing this year about various holiday movies. And my husband likes comedies, so I get dragged into watching a lot of these movies that, the Home Alone classics, and Christmas Carol, and what's the one with Ralphie? I hate that movie, but everyone loves it.
Christmas Story.
A Christmas Story. So those are the movies I probably see the most often. But so yeah, I have not a lot to say. Sorry.
That's okay. Jennifer, you mentioned a couple, but surely there are more.
Well, yeah, let me tell you now, if anybody ever wants to know about Hallmark Christmas movies, just hit me up on Twitter, because like I said, I watch a lot of them, and the Netflix ones and the Lifetime ones too. And I have my favorites. I really like, one of them is called A Princess for Christmas. Actually, Roger Moore of James Bond fame is in that one, and that one's really cute. It also has the guy from Outlander, Sam Heughan. Am I saying his name right?
Hugelin.
Heughan, thank you. And then there's a really cute one with Katrina Law from Arrow called Snow Bride, where she's like a paparazzi reporter and she's trying to get the scoop on this political family. And it has like the fake relationship in it, which is one of my all-time favorite tropes. 9 Lives of Christmas with Brandon Routh. That one's really cute. And then I had never seen Elf with Will Ferrell until a couple of years ago. And I kept seeing it online, and I finally sat down and watched it. And I will say it is very quotable. You sit on a throne of lies, I think, is like probably one of the best quotes from that movie. But like the scenes where he's like drowning everything in candy and maple syrup, it just like kind of makes me cringe a little bit. But I know that's a holiday favorite for a lot of people. And I will say, when I was a kid, every year at Christmas, they would show The Sound of Music. So like in my mind, that is kind of a Christmas movie, but they would always put it on at Christmas, and we would always watch it.
Yeah, it's like they always ran The Wizard of Oz at Thanksgiving where I grew up. So the movie has nothing to do with Thanksgiving, but in my mind, it's a Thanksgiving movie. Yeah, I hear you. Jeannie?
Oh my gosh. Well, my 2 favorite Christmas movies are Die Hard 1 and 2.
Die Hard is totally a Christmas movie.
Absolutely. Followed hard on the heels by White Christmas and Scrooged, and the George C. Scott version and the Muppet version of A Christmas Carol. We had to explain to our sons last year and demonstrate to them that why Die Hard was a Christmas movie. We thought that was, I had neglected their education somehow. As for other holidays, of course, Halloween is my favorite holiday, so I'm in my element right now with the Adams Family movies and Hocus Pocus and all the others. But as for Christmas movies, if it's not Christmas unless I've seen White Christmas and Die Hard and Scrooged. That one's so funny.
Brigham?
This is funny because I have never actually watched a Hallmark Christmas movie ever. I somehow, it's lacking in my education, but I am a huge fan of Love Actually, The Holiday, and
yeah, I love that one. I love that one.
Serendipity, which isn't necessarily a Christmas movie, but a lot of it's set like there's some scenes around Christmas and in the winter, and so I don't know. It just they are very like sappy comedic romance, but I really, really, really love the heck out of them. This isn't a movie, but my family tradition has always been to go see a local production of A Christmas Carol. And I have seen it every year since I was about 5 or 6. And this is the first year I will not get to see that. So I think I'm going to have to find it. I don't know if it's actually like if they might stream it online or like if the production company might still do it and stage it online. I don't know if they've talked about it, but I think I'm going to have to hunt it down in movie format or something because it's just not Christmas without A Christmas Carol.
I think one of the DC theater companies is going to stream it. So you might check into that because I think they are. But
Fabulous.
If not, you've always got the Muppets.
Yeah, you'll always have the Muppets.
For sure.
I love that Hallmark holiday movies kind of have their own bingo card game that comes with them, so you can check off the tropes as
in the Hallmark store literally this past weekend.
Oh, I didn't realize it was an actual product. I've seen it online where people have created it, but this is a real.
Yes, I took a photo of it. They have created, you can get it at the Hallmark store. It says Hallmark Movie Bingo, and it's like drink hot chocolate, decorate a Christmas tree, sing carols, like literally every little check mark in a Hallmark movie.
Mix and yeah, it's kind of like the trope board for writing one. Just, put it in a blender, mix it around, bring it back out. Yeah. Well, Jeannie mentioned, It's a Wonderful Life, both the Muppet, Christmas Carol, both the George C. Scott and the Muppets. I love It's a Wonderful Life, but I have to be in the right mood for it. Maybe not this year. Yeah. But I also love, there's a Queen Latifah movie last
Love
fall.
that movie. Love that movie.
Love that movie.
Good.
That's such a great one that, it's just such a feel-good movie. And of course, everybody knows I love Supernatural. There is a very Supernatural Christmas episode that you just have to watch. But one of the actors who had a minor role in the show was talking about being an actor on a Hallmark movie, Matt Cohen. And his movie is a little different because the actor is Jewish. He plays a Jewish character who is getting taken home to his Christian wife's family for Christmas, surprise, meet my new fiance. And, that's kind of the trope in the story. And he gave us some insights into what it's like as an actor having to do those kissing scenes, because he says it's the most unromantic thing in the world, because first of all, you have like 30 people and they're all trying to get your head angled just right. And nobody in their right mind would hold their head at that angle when kissing someone. He walked us through all the mechanics of it. And it's probably better not to know and keep the mystique alive. But for me, I grew up with Rudolph and Frosty and the Grinch. So I got to watch all of those. And an obscure little one called Santa's Magic Toy Bag, which is a Muppet one that, does have a DVD, but like nobody's seen it. And I think two of the recent ones that I love, there's a Netflix one called Klaus.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Which
it's
is
wonderful.
Nice, animated, and really good. And Arthur Christmas, if you haven't seen this one, he's Santa's youngest son. He's not supposed to inherit the business when Dad retires. His older, very corporate brother is going to take it over. But Arthur's the one who loves Christmas and owns 365 ugly Christmas sweaters, and he gets along better with the reindeer, and he feels it. And it's just a wonderful animated movie, so that's my recommendation. So believe it or not, we are at the end of our time. So we have covered a lot of holidays here, but let's go around and let everybody know maybe what your most recent holiday book is and where we can find you online. DJ?
Okay, well, my most recent holiday book is All I Want Is You, which is also out on Audible, if people like audio for romance. And I'm working on one for this year, so hopefully that will be out in late November. And I'm all over Facebook and Amazon, but I have a website, readingdj.com, so you can find me there.
Awesome. Jennifer?
Don't have any new holiday romances that have come out recently, but I will have a book out on Thursday, November 12th. It's called A Sense of Danger. It's an Audible original, so it'll be audiobook only, and it's basically spies with magic, so more murder and mayhem, just no holiday. You can find me online at my website. It's jenniferestep.com, and I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, BookBub, Goodreads, and Amazon.
Great. Jeannie?
Oh gosh, my most recent holiday romance is Trick or Treat at Caneham Castle with you, Gail. And you can find me at jeanneadams.com. You can find me on Twitter at Jeanne Adams, Instagram at JPA Griffin. And yeah, pretty much around ConTinual as well, all over on the Facebook page. So
I sliced my finger to the knuckle.
Oh.
I'd like some help.
Ooh,
Well, that's all for me.
um,
Oh dear.
Brigham, how about you?
Well, last year, along with Hank Edwards, I did a 4-book holiday series, and we each did a Christmas story and we each did a Valentine's Day story, and they are centered around the Williamsville Inn, which is a little inn in near Buffalo, New York. So if you search for Williamsville Inn, that'll get you to all 4 books. That was last year, and this year I will be releasing a age gap romance, kind of a forbidden romance. It's a guy who falls in love with his best friend's dad at the holidays, and they end up trapped in a cabin together, and so it is a lot of fun, and that is Cabin Fever, and it'll be out this year, probably by end of November. You can find me pretty much everywhere. My website is brighamvaughn.com, and I also have Instagram, Facebook, all of Twitter, everything. And you can always find my fan group, which is Brigham's Book Nerds on Facebook, and that's fun. We have a really good time there.
cool.
Awesome. Well, Jeannie mentioned Trick or Treat at Caneham Castle. Of course, we also have Christmas at Caneham Castle. Multiple authors, same fictional castle. I'll have a brand new holiday story out just a little after Christmas in a multi-author prolific works giveaway that is yet to be announced. But my story in it will be part of my Kings of the Mountain series. It's called The Christmas Spirit. And you can find me online at gailzmartin.com and at morganbrice.com. So thank you all very much for being with us tonight. And thank you folks for watching and being here with us in ConTinual. Stay tuned. We've got a lot more holiday good stuff to come. So we will see you online.